Hello everyone, and welcome. Well, we made it back, and we're going to spend the night. Once again, I checked the weather network last week. They were calling for 0 snow all week long. It was going to be beautiful all week. And on Thursday, we got a dumping of snow, about 10 centimeters or so. So I'm going to have to dig out the spot again. Luckily, when I stashed the wood last week, I was thinking ahead. I know the weather network can't be trusted, so I threw a tarp over the wood. So, there's just a little bit of snow. Because we're so close to the car, instead of bringing that tiny shovel, I brought my big boy shovel. If I hang all my bungee cords in the tree behind me, I know where they are. Much bigger shovel. This should go a lot faster. I've shoveled out a fair-sized area, but the only way we're going to know for sure if the tent's going to fit in here is to get the tent out of the sled and start setting it up. I think we're just going to make it. Time to test out these stakes. Time for the moment of truth. I've got 6 pegs in, which is what I need so that I can put in the center pole and see if she'll stand. Let's go find out. She's up. Time to finish staking her out. Now, just because there is 10 guy out points on this thing doesn't mean you have to use them all. My cot is going to be back here, so I'm not coming towards this end at all. So I think if I guy out this one and this one, that'll give me plenty of foot room for the cot. And then if I go guy out the 2 on the other side, that'll give me a bit of headroom for when I'm sitting in the chair and enough room for the cot. They're not calling for crazy amounts of wind tonight. I don't see the point in using all these guy outs. So let's tie down just a few of these and call it good. So I've got the cot set up. I just threw the sleeping bag rolled up on top of it, along with my backpack, because in my backpack that's where I've got the sleeping pad, the pillows, and everything else I'm going to need for sleeping. I try and keep the backpack light in the winter. That way if I have to walk through deep snow, I'm not sinking as bad. I usually try and keep the heavy stuff in the sled. There is a bit of a gap at the bottom of the tent because there's no snow skirts at the front. So what I did is I took the tarp from the sled and I threw it on the ground. The bag for the tent, the bag for the cot, all of those bags go on this tarp and they block, not completely, there is still some airflow getting in, but they block some of the cool breeze from coming in. Even after 2 years, everything still works great. We're ready to put the stove in place. I've been using this stovepipe for 2 years. And the last time I was out, I don't know what caused it, but I was starting to get a bit of smoke inside the tent once in a while. And there was some creosote buildup in here. And it was leaking towards the inside. I brought out the new one. They say it's best to unroll this and roll it up lengthwise with help and to burn it in at home so that you don't have to fight with it in the woods. Problem with that being, where I live, I can't use my stove outside. So I have no choice but to do the burn in out here in the woods. The car is right there. The other pipe is here and it works. I know it works. So if I can't get this rolled up, I can always go back on the old one. But I think I'll be okay. Now they say the first step is to take this initial roll out of this. And the way you do that is by rolling it back the other way. Wow, now that noise racket is done. They say to hold it like that for about 30 seconds or so, and that should pretty much straighten out the pipe. Alright, I think that's long enough. Now you take one corner and you start to curl it. And you place all your fancy new rings on it. And then you just keep curling for now. Okay. So once you got your rings on and you're curling it up, you start eventually twisting this hand this way and this hand that way to straighten it all out. And eventually you get the seam all nice and straight. So now we can space these out a little better. We'll get our spark arrestor on. Now we can go put the chimney in place. that the chimney's in place, we can grab the sled and go back to where our wood is stored and go and check that out. So here's where I hid that wood. I'm glad I thought to throw the tarp over top. So I like to store a bit here beside the bed so that if I get cold in the night and I need to use the stove all night, I can. And I don't have to get out of bed to do it. And then for the evening, I'm going to pile more wood on this side of the stove. So, who wants a quick review of the nice C chair? Very comfortable in the summer. In the winter, it breaks. Luckily, I piled some wood underneath, and as long as I sit gently, I should be able to make do with it for this evening. But I was hoping to light the fire in here, and then go dig a spot and have a fire outside and sit in my nice comfortable chair. Oh well, them's the breaks. Literally, break. Okay, so I'm going to get this lit. Make sure this is working good. And then we'll come up with another plan, because I'll see if I can find a stump or something I can sit on out there. I've already got some wood in the stove, and I've got one of my homemade fire lighters. Spread it apart. Get that in there. Toss in some twigs. So I found an area where I want to sit and have a fire for a little bit. I gathered up some birch bark, but a lot of this stuff is very, very fine and papery. And I find with this stuff, if I just shred it, usually it'll light fairly well. Of course, I say usually. There we go. So here we have our nice little fire. A beautiful view. And a spot to sit. And it even comes equipped with an ice cold beer. This is a Waterloo Dark. Oh. Now I'm going to sit and relax and enjoy this for a little bit. Then we'll head back to the tent later. So I've got my sleeping bag, and I blew up the Gear Doctor's Apollo Air sleeping pad. I brought a sheet from home. Same as I did last time. I'm going to wrap the pad and then stick it inside my sleeping bag. And the only reason I'm doing that is because having the sleeping pad inside the sleeping bag I'm thinking will help keep the sleeping pad a little warmer, and it might lose a little less air overnight. But the plastic of the sleeping pad is a little cool on the body. So if I wrap it in a sheet, it makes it a little bit more comfortable. And by having the pad inside the sleeping bag, the pad is less likely to slide around. Somehow, I'm managing to make this broken chair work for me. I just have to be a little careful when I sit down. But at least it looks like it'll hold up for the evening. The pipe has burnt in quite nice. It has all changed colors. I'm not worried about it. So I've closed that door. But I think now is a good time to talk about the elephant in the room. Or in this case, the bearded guy in the tent. Usually when I come out here, it's fairly cold. I keep my sweater on. It's all good. When I come out here, I don't think about fashion. I'm not here to impress anybody. The squirrels really don't care what I'm wearing. So I throw on whatever I throw on. When I get home at the end of the weekend, I throw it all in the wash. The next time I come out, I put it all back on again, come back out. But during the winter, these pants that I wear are insulated, so they're heavy. And because I wear my gaiters, it also pulls down on the pants, so the pants don't stay up. So I bought suspenders. The only suspenders I could buy that worked are red suspenders. They're a heavy-duty suspender. They're made for work pants or a work belt, a tool belt. They're fantastic for keeping these pants up. But that being said, last weekend was warmer, so I took the sweater off. Well, then you got the green shirt, which is very comfortable, with the red suspenders. I get home, and my neighbor saw me outside, and she's, "Oh, look, it's red-green." Well, I walked in the house laughing. Anne asked me what was so funny, so I told her what the neighbor said. Well, Anne jumps on her phone, finds a picture of red-green, and does a split screen of me and him. Posted a few pictures on Facebook. I've been getting comments left, right, and center about me being dressed like red-green, and I didn't know where red-green had gone. Now we know. It was funny. It really was. We've been laughing about it all week long. And here I am again, wearing the same thing. It's a little cooler, so I'm wearing the sweater. You can't really tell, but oh well. It's all in good fun. You got to be able to laugh at yourself once in a while. So like I've been telling everybody all week, it's not red-green, it's handy Andy. Well, I guess it's going to be time to start cooking supper. We're doing something a little different tonight. I brought out some sausages. And a pepper and an onion. And a little bit of leftover rice. So we're going to get the pan on the stove. Put a little bit of butter in there. Now, I don't have the fire roaring hot because I don't want to burn the sausages. So all I'm doing right now is browning these sausages a little bit, getting them partway cooked. Then I'm going to slice them up so that they'll cook just a bit faster and make them a little more bite-sized. And then I'll cut up the onion and the pepper and toss those in. And when they're just about done, I'll throw in the rice and warm everything up together. And it'll be a sausage fried rice. leftover rice that we had for supper last night. We're just gonna throw that in there. Give that a good stir. The precarious chair. So that looks done. Put the cutting board on my lap so I don't burn myself. Oh. Hot. Oh, very hot, but good. Oh. Sausages are cooked perfectly. I let the stove die almost right down just so that I could simmer this and not burn it, but now I can stick some wood in there and warm this place up a little. Supper was delicious. Now we've got the stove cranking out some heat. Time for a little dessert. Oh. And then after this, I brought my little speaker. I think I'm gonna just turn on some music and relax for a little while and try not to fall out of this broken chair. It's nice to have the time to be able to come out and do this. Okay, I'm gonna kick back and relax. We'll see you in the morning. Morning, everyone. Water's on the stove. I've got my oatmeal in the bowl waiting, and I'm just grinding up some fresh coffee. What a great night. It snowed a little bit, not much. Just enough to give a light covering. But it was wonderful for sleeping. the snow would hit the top of the tent and melt because of the heat from the stove, and you could hear it running down the tent almost like rain. But only once in a while. I'm looking out the chimney jack right now, and looks like there might be just a few flakes coming down again. Nothing wrong with a few flurries. Oh, there we go. Won't be long now. We'll be having some coffee. I like having the sleeping pad inside the bag when it's a rectangular bag like this. Leaves me with just enough room to move around, but the sleeping pad can't slide around anywhere. I decided to fold up that chair. I just really didn't want to fight with it this morning. It's not very comfortable to have it resting on a pile of logs like that and sit on it worrying about you're constantly going to fall over. But the cot will do for this morning. At least we're going to be able to sit and eat, have a coffee, and then we're slowly going to pack up, get ready to head out of here. Coffee's ready. Oh. Time for that first sip. No, it's not. Wow, that's hot. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Let's wait a few seconds before we go for that second sip, all right? Sheesh. Usually when I do the pour over on the ground like that, it cools it down enough that I can actually drink it, but wow. That one stayed hot. Yeah, there's a few flakes. I can see some landing on the tent. It's snowing a little. Oh well, I guess I'm going to have to pack up in here as much as I can. And then hurry up and toss everything in the sled and get it to the car. And then come back for the tent. That way at least the only wet thing is the tent. We'll see how it goes. Won't be too bad though. But once again, I've cut way too much wood. I still got this pile here, and there's another pile about the size of this over there. But that's all right. I think I'm going to stash it back where I had it. Next weekend on Saturday, we're watching Kieran overnight, our grandson. And Sunday, I was going to do a day trip. So if I stash all this wood here, if Anne knows there's a lot of wood, I might be able to convince her to come out for a lunch. Maybe. If not, I'll come out for a lunch and I won't have to cut any wood. But I want bleh. But I want to thank you all for coming along. It's always a pleasure having you here. I appreciate the company. And if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. And if you're going to do that, you may as well hit the notification bell. When you do, there'll be a drop-down menu, select all, and it should let you know whenever we put out a new video. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.